bailout factor when it comes to Malik Monk because of his ability to take over the games at the offensive end of the floor. And he's improved over the course of the year, in particular, changing direction, changing speeds. This, of course, was the shot that ended up sending that first Georgia game into overtime. He's good at finding his spot on the floor, getting his feet set, catch and shoot, little shot fake, one dribble pull up. Where I think he's at his best, though, is when he gets all the way to the cup. He needs to be aggressive and attack the interior of the presence that Georgia can bring underneath with their front court.
The scoring duos we have here in this game are sensational, Farnham.
Second highest scoring duo in the SEC. Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox. First time in a tournament setting. Going to be interesting to see how they play here this afternoon. And you might ask yourself, partner, if they're second, then who's first?
I think I know the answer.
J.J. Frazier and Yante Maton. All season long, their level of consistency has led this Georgia Bulldog team. They got Maton back yesterday. For J.J. Frazier, he's been playing at a Kemba Walker-like level for the last 6 games.
Maton came back after the injury yesterday, had 12 points, 5 rebounds. Kaylee, how do they plan to use him today?
Well, Tess, Yante Maton back in the starting lineup. The good news being that sprained knee that kept him off the basketball court for 2.5 weeks. They say not a problem. The staff very happy with the way his knee responded to yesterday's game activity. Now, Maton's challenge today, Coach Fox told me, is to be comfortable enough back on the court that he can be confident, that he can play with the aggression he needs to against this Kentucky team. But Fox, he's got an end of this deal to hold up too. He was very candid yesterday in saying he didn't think he managed Maton's re-entry into this team as well as he hoped. Fox wants to help his team find better rhythm with Maton back on the court.
He only one full practice over the course of 4 weeks. It was the day before that Tennessee game. And he gained some confidence there. There he is right in the middle of that starting lineup. J.J. Frazier, last time against Kentucky, 1 point short of his career best. He had 36. De'Aaron Fox, a solid 16 points in that last game down there at Georgia. Many of those were key scores late. As we are underway in Nashville, quarterfinals day here in the SEC.
And you can feel it every day that passes in Champ Week. It gets a little bit more significant. The energy in the building, there's a buzz here today.
Frazier a double-double yesterday against Tennessee. So he's matched up with Fox.
Tempo is very important in this game. Georgia wants to play at a solid, slow-down pace.
Here's Maton testing the inside that time, and a violation on their first possession. John Calipari, the first coach in D1 history to win 5 regular season conference championships at 3 different schools. And of course, Kentucky having just earned their 48th SEC regular season championship. Got the trophy just before we tipped here. Monk well off the mark on his first shot.
Couple keys from the first 2 meetings, partner. Kentucky dominated in second chance points, 32-3. Talking to Mark Fox this morning saying, you know, do you have to try to change it up? He goes, no, we have to sacrifice these second chance points and take them out of transition.
Stolen by Fox. And they couldn't handle it as Briscoe turned it over. Frazier on the other end. And into the hands of Derek Willis as they are running. Ubich!
Oh, come on now!
How about it? Climb the ladder, bam! A little Smashville in Nashville, Farnham to get the day started. You think Big Blue Nation's ready to roar right from the start?
Open floor situation. Watch this. Spaced out. Bam Adebayo is going to run on the backside. Great patience by Malik Monk. A little look away. Freezes the defense, and as you throw it up, he's one of the best finishers in the country. He'll bring it home.
And Fox was charged with his first on the other end. Parker shot fake into the lane. Tried to leave it, and able to secure it underneath was Ogbede.
What a way to start the day, though.
High energy from the Cats with that moment from Big Bam. Back to him in the post against Ogbede. And we're going to get the call on the floor. How about one more time, partner?
You can't get this enough. Watch Malik Monk. Do I really need to say anything? Just enjoy it. Look at that. Elevation, Bam Adebayo runs the floor so well. And the key to what that signifies to me, and this has been the challenge point for Kentucky over the last couple of weeks. We've discussed it on Super Tuesday. Getting off to good starts. They have struggled early in the course of many of their games down the stretch of the regular season here.
Double-digit deficits early in their last 3. Willis, he's always willing from range, and he puts it through. Derek Willis. Parker can't connect. Bam with the rebound. Offensive as Briscoe came in a little too hard that time. Mark Fox, 8th season at Georgia, 2 NCAA trips. And he's tied for the school record with 4 20-win seasons.
He's done a remarkable job changing the culture of the program at Georgia, having sustained consistency in success. And there's a couple times where he's had 20-plus wins and he didn't make the NCAA tournament. I felt he should have.
Jackson Edwards check in for the Dogs.
If they want to make the NCAA tournament this year, according to Joe Lenardi, this is a bona fide must-win game.
Maton couldn't hold on to it, trying to crash the boards there. Fox for 3.
Good start for the Cats.
Steps that time as Turtle Jackson came around.
De'Aaron Fox, the very talented freshman, fills in from behind and lines this up, electrifies the crowd, and welcomes you to Rupp Arena, Nashville.
That is what it feels like, isn't it? Good hands that time by Maton. 3 ball. Rattles out for Frazier. Stripped away again. But a big start for the Cats.
Well, how do you energize yourself? How do you energize your crowd? Coach always says it's March when you need to be playing your best. Will we see the best version of the Cats all afternoon long? They're off to a great start early against the Bulldogs.
SEC Men's Basketball Tournament is brought to you by Belk, the home of modern Southern style. Visit belk.com today.
Commissioner Greg Sankey of the SEC handing out the regular season championship to Kentucky just before we tipped off. I thought you made a very interesting point, and when you see how they've started, it shows maybe a development of maturity, because that can be a distraction for a young team before tournament play.
Well, you get a sense of accomplishment. You get a sense that you've already completed a task, and certainly they have completed a portion of the task. But when you're trying to build momentum into the NCAA tournament, it is important that you get your feet underneath you and you play well in your conference tournament. And for a young team like Kentucky, this is a taste of what tournament life is like.
Willis and Fox each with a 3 ball. Georgia struggling shooting, 1 of 6, 0 for 2 from 3, and an 8-2 Kentucky lead here. Thrilled you're with us. Joe Tessitore alongside Sean Farnham and Kaylee Hartung. The first of our 4 quarterfinal games right here on the SEC Network all day long from Nashville. Look at the speed and the move from De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, Georgia too soft defensively right there, and that was a big concern for Mark Fox. He talked about it in the pregame with us, the need to stay connected defensively, to be disciplined, and they lacked the defensive principles to stop De'Aaron Fox to get to the rim.
Jackson tried to feed inside. Ball was slapped away. It'll stay down at this end. with Georgia.
All right, so when you're guarding De'Aaron Fox, you have to have help side and awareness. Two guys go to the ball, they both back off. No communication. And as they take their negative step, he's taking positive steps going to the rim.
Here's Mayton against Bam. Willis comes over. A little bit of help with the double. Turtle Jackson for three. Wouldn't stay for Adebayo. Deontay's calling for it. Comes up well short. Good work with the follow. Staying with it, and he will earn a trip to the stripe. Kaylee?
Well, as you guys talk about that challenge of defending De'Aaron Fox, well, he's working to make it harder for everybody, as his task lately to himself has been to work more on controlling the pace of the game. Now, he and Kenny Payne have been watching film of guys like John Wall, Kyrie Irving, and Kyle Lowry, and how they control the pace of the game. That right now is what Fox is putting the most pressure on himself to play a better role in.
I think Kenny Payne, Kelly, you bring up Kenny's name, and he has done such a good job being part of the assistant. Sometimes being assistant under Coach Cal, you kind of get lost in the shadow a little bit. But player development-wise, the relationship he has with the kids, he's been a big part of their success, their recruiting process, not just that, but the actual coaching and the day-to-day efforts. In particular with the bigs. He works so well with the bigs in their player development. Karl Anthony Towns a couple of years ago, from where he was at the start of the year to where he was in the middle of January, a lot of that has to do with the day-to-day operations.
You know, we were at a practice about a month ago where Coach Cal made the point of saying that I cannot be the only voice they hear at this stage of development as well. Kenny's really stepped up. Bam, slam, almost again. Really stepped up and played that role, as well as some of the younger guys of understanding it was time for them to stand on their own 2 feet. And we've seen the win streak since some of those moments in February that were regrettable.
And where you've seen that show up is in defense. I mean, they've been much better at the defensive end of the floor. Look at this possession alone. You got Bam Adebayo guarding J.J. Frazier, and he can't get by him.
Good feed underneath from Turtle Jackson to Derek Ogbede. Briscoe from the elbow. Bam! Underneath, offensive rebound and a reset for the Cats. Here's Briscoe again. As Hawkins was fouled, making his way into the lane. J.J. Frazier charged with a foul, his first. Reminder that Dari and the gang will be here all day with SEC Now. Looking forward to hear what they have to say at the half as they set things up for the entire day of action here in Nashville. SEC Now, right here on the SEC Network. Those guys have been having a lot of fun in Nashville this week, shutting down this place every night after the late action, getting up early to come back and take in shoot-arounds. Crump, three ball. Well short. Humphreys the rebound. Front rim right back to him at 15 feet. That was way off the mark. Hawkins, as he tried to live it a little bit behind Briscoe. Gabriel on the drive.
And a break there, getting the foul. Every foul can be important based on how much pressure J.J. Frazier can apply. I know he's not on the floor right now for Georgia, but as we've mentioned, he has had a great knack in the last 6 games of getting to the free throw line, manufacturing points. Had his first career double-double yesterday, first season double-double, excuse me, third of his career.
after what was a very slow start to that game against Tennessee. Turtle Jackson. That wouldn't fall for him. Here comes Briscoe again. Tapped away as he was trying to get it cross court to Mulder.
Well, we mentioned Kentucky and the way their season has progressed and where the turnaround has come from for this team, and in particular the last 8 games at the defensive end of the floor. Look at those first 4 of the last 12 and then the last 8 of them. The ability to defend, their ability to limit the scoring opportunities for their opponent, the drop from 83 points per game to 67. It gives you a larger margin of error at the offensive end of the floor when you buy in and you compete at the defensive end.
Kentucky 0 for their last 4, make it 5. Briscoe ends up with it and takes care of business. 9 points lead early on here, their largest.
This game has not started the way that Georgia fans would like to see, I'll tell you that. They are sluggish, they are tight, they're playing tentatively. And the team that is playing with the better sense of energy and purpose is the team that has the 9-point lead.
That 8-game win streak brought here into Nashville by the Cats. And they're looking good early on. Well, some of the folks of Big Blue Nation are still trying to get into the building here at the Bridgestone Arena. When they do, they're going to enjoy the scoreboard they see. Kentucky up 14-5 on Georgia in this quarterfinal action.
Yeah, it's been a great start for Kentucky, and it got going right away. And what I love about this is when you watch Malik Monk, you see where Bam is running from. And I think too often they just assume a lot of times big men give up on the play and think their guards are going to go after it. But that time the defense, poor awareness, no communication. And if you run hard and you run with purpose to a seam and you have patience from your guard, you can feed your big man and find success.
I'm telling you pregame about the return of Yante Maton, #1 scoring duo, joined up with J.J. Frazier in the SEC right now, combined 1 point, 0 for 4 shooting. Kaylee?
Well, a succinct message from Mark Fox as the players left that huddle. He said, don't panic, we just got to hoop.
Got to stay calm and focused and with purpose here. But they're up against it against a Kentucky team that has gotten off to slow starts, been down double digits in recent games. Not today. Razor sharp. See if they stay with it. Here's Maton.
Maton's getting poor post position. Every time he turns, he's beyond the backboard.
Frazier, rebound, Maton, and he was fouled.
A good job working the offensive glass and getting the second chance points, but Yante Maton, when he catches the ball down low on the block, you have to have an awareness of where you are. As he spins, he's beneath the basket, and he's got nowhere to go. He's taking himself out of the play. Post up a little bit higher, a foot or two higher up the lane. That way when you turn, you give yourself an angle to use the backboard.
Foul charge to Monk, 16 foul on Kentucky.
Great crowd. Look at that picture. A lot of blue in that picture, by the way.
A lot of blue all week long. You know their team's not playing until Friday. It doesn't matter. They're going to be in the Honky Tonks restaurants, the hotel lobby all week long, and it is just a great scene here in Nashville with Big Blue Nation each and every time.
Guys, with this young Kentucky team, and of course they turn to the veterans to say, what will this environment be like? Bam Adebayo said those veterans said, oh, it's just like Rupp.
Bam tried to create some space. Briscoe ended up with it, and the 4th turnover for Kentucky.
Well, the Kentucky fans, they are fired up today. There was a lady that was cheering. She thought that was a foul. I'm looking over where the player is, and she is waving her arms with excitement. And all of a sudden she looks and goes, wait, that one against us? And her friend goes, yes, sit down.
Here's Monk.
She can stand up.
She can stand up now, Farnham. Georgia's struggles offensively. You see outside the paint, 0 for 7 shooting, steps again.
Turnovers were an issue yesterday for Georgia. It didn't really hurt them all that much, though, in their game. It will hurt you if you've got Malik Monk. Watch the way he plays the passing lane and then just takes off. And once he's in the open floor, he's gone. The athleticism takes over.
Georgia shooting just 17%, 5 turnovers, trailing by 9. Willis. Tapped out and into the hands of Abede. Giada couldn't bank it. Abede with the rebound. Here's Pop. Count it.
Another second chance opportunity, and one that they're able to convert on. I think for Georgia right now, they came out with such an idea to control the tempo that they took away some of their aggressiveness. And in taking away their aggressiveness, they have had turnovers, poor shots, late shot clock situation that has fed to Kentucky's good start.
It's 2 on De'Aaron Fox now.
I think they're going to change. Nope. Discussion. I think they were trying to figure out if they were going to change the foul.
As Giada patiently waits to shoot his free throws. And he completes the three-point play. Native of Senegal, came over to the USA to play 4 years of high school basketball in Gainesville, Florida.
Already Georgia with more second chance points than they had in the 2 games combined in the regular season.
Sloppy pass that time.
That's J.J. Frazier's fault, though, partner.
Turtle Jackson had to come in, made contact, and picks up the foul.
I mean, you're just leaving your offensive player out to dry. This is a lazy, soft pass going back. I mean, there is nothing on that pass. And a good job by Isaiah Briscoe to shoot the lane once again. And you have to understand, Kentucky's going to pressure out. This isn't a secret.
Willis back to Bam, back to Willis. Money. Derek Willis with 2 3-pointers. Here's Edwards. Blocked by Willis. Got a piece of it again, but it goes in as Edwards fights his way underneath to close this to a 7-point game. Hawkins wouldn't drop over that rim. Chance for Georgia to settle in a little bit here, have a bit of momentum. Frazier coming around the corner. Shot clock at 5. Turtle Jackson for 3. Air ball. Saved out Frazier in violation.
Not a good possession that time for Georgia. The previous one was. And what I love about this is watch on the drive. He goes in. 2 guys surround J.J. Frazier. It's a quick dump down underneath to the open man that has planted himself right underneath the basket, and Edwards was able to score. What I think you've got to understand if you're J.J. Frazier in this game is you cannot force the action just because you had success last time. 36 points. The defense, they're corralling and trapping, trying to make other people beat them. You can beat them with the pass right now if you're patient enough and deliver good passes by J.J. Frazier.
Fox lost control, got it back, and finished it. Yeah, Frazier from 36 points last go-round against Kentucky to scoreless and 0 for 3 and missed his only 3-point attempt. Parker denied by Willis. Great body control by De'Aaron Fox as he will head to the line. What a scene in Nashville. Whether you're inside Bridgestone or down there on Broadway, taking it in with a tasty adult beverage. Farnham, Big Blue Nation rocking today.
Questions of how De'Aaron Fox would respond, at least early in this game, in his first tournament setting. Have they been answered? Quick hands, swipe of the Fox, getting it done at the defensive end of the floor. Offensively, drawing the defense to. Two of you step to, don't force it. Find the guy open in the corner. Derek Willis able to knock it down. And then offensively, if you're going to play hesitant, if you're going to back off and give him space, what you're giving him is a layup. And De'Aaron Fox has been in such a good rhythm so far in the game, filling up the stat sheet.
The stat sheet was 7 points. By the way, earlier we did have official scoring having him marked down with 2 personal fouls. He has 1. It's Malik Monk with 2. But the shooting from distance, the story early on here as well, as Fox at the line. Kentucky 3 of 4 made 3-pointers. Georgia 0 for 5 from 3.
Well, Derek Willis, a hot start for himself. 6 points, 2 of 3. We were there when he got engaged. He's been engaged in this game already.
That was something
2 block
I've seen
shots.
tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was great.
Different kind of engagement tonight, Martin.
Yeah. One of the more of the truer sense of the words as far as being engaged into the basketball game and feeling the flow early.
Miss Keely Potts, his girlfriend, who he had proposed to on senior night in front of the big crowd at Rupp. Mulder gets to work. The senior Michael Mulder. As Kentucky pushes their lead to 13. Parker from the elbow.
And I'll tell you what, Mike Mulder and Yante Maton talking a little bit right now. The referee had to jump in and tell him to calm down, but this might be part of the reason why. Watch this. As you go in, the awareness of Bam Adebayo is so clear that what it does is it sucks the defense in and forces a longer run out, an uncontested look for Mulder to finish up over the top. The speed of De'Aaron Fox and the strength of Bam Adebayo.
16-footer no good for Bam. And stepping in at that time was Parker. As that'll be Fox's second.
I love the way players can impact a game even when they don't have the ball in their hands. And I think Jawan Parker has had his role has increased as far as his scoring goes, but how he impacts the Georgia basketball program. You see that patch that's been sewn on to his jersey that signifies that he has already graduated the University of Georgia. In fact, he's going to get his master's degree this summer. Still with a year of eligibility remaining, he's going to go for his doctorate degree.
Graduated in 2.5 years, and he comes from a family that greatly values education. Dad's a law professor at University of Tulsa. Mom's a high school counselor. Not a great looking trip there.
Could have used some of the free throws. And for Georgia right now, their offense has been so stagnant. They have been taken out of rhythm as Kentucky's done a nice job not allowing them to score at the rim.
Meanwhile, underneath and making a way to get through was Briscoe. Georgia shooting 25%. As Maton draws the fouls, he was getting to work against Bam.
Last possession Where's the rotation help side wide? Edwards just stands there and doesn't pinch in, and part of the reason why he doesn't pinch is because Derek Willis has been shooting the ball so well from beyond the arc. He's afraid to come in and collapse, knowing that they'll kick.
First on Bam. Ayton 3 of 4 from the stripe. Still hasn't hit a shot from the floor.
I think he's getting chippy out there. Officials talking now to Bam Adebayo, and Deontay Ayton once again in the middle of it. It's good to see Deontay Ayton back out on the floor. First team all-conference in the SEC this year. Has continued to improve every single season he's been on campus. And at this time of year, you want every team that we cover, we want them at full strength. We want them all able to be out on the floor, because that's the celebration of the game of college basketball in Champ Week.
Mulder off to the right. Follow wouldn't go that time from Bam. There's Ayton against Willis as he gives way now to Crump. Back into the post with the mismatch. Just muscled his way about 4 feet in, but couldn't get it to go. As Hawkins probes, leaves it for Willis again. Wouldn't drop. Never had a chance from Crump there. Offline the whole time.
Well, his balance wasn't right. His body was leaning to the left. Where'd the ball go? It went left. His footwork wasn't good there. 0 for 6 from beyond the arc so far for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Woolridge with the rebound. Here comes Frazier. Stop and pop. J.J. Frazier.
And just like that, it gets the lead under 10. And as poor as Georgia has played, as poor as J.J. Frazier has gotten off to as far as a start in this game, will one basket make a difference and get him into rhythm and flow?
Frazier's first made shot comes with just over 4 minutes before half. Hawkins. That was contested and it showed. Rebound by Deontay Ayton. Nice work to get there. He couldn't finish it.
He struggled the last 2 days in those type of shots where he has been so efficient at finishing those type of moves all year long. He was 2 of 8 yesterday, only 1 of 4 in straight line drives today.
Bam, trying to get past Edwards, and he's going to earn a trip to the line. So some missed opportunities for Georgia. Kentucky up 9.
Welcome in, Dari, Delk, Fish, Bradley. We'll see you at halftime. Take you through the day to come in the SEC tournament. What do you see in first half?
Kentucky has to do a better job of challenging shots without fouling.
Smothering defense by Kentucky, but they're like Jason Aldean. They're hanging around, Pat Bradley.
Georgia, scrap the script. Offensively, get down. They're going to have to create some offensive stuff that they don't have.
Guys, you should hear Delk continue to maintain that this is a neutral site game.
Yeah, right. He would, says the former Kentucky legend. You know, one of the big setups in discussing this matchup were the dynamic scoring duos, but a rough start for Frazier and Ayton, Sean.
A very rough start, and I think that's where I do agree with Tony Delk and Pat Bradley. They got to get something going out in transition. They got to start pushing it a little bit more on the open floor and take the opportunities when you have it, because if you're going to play in the half-court set against Kentucky all night long, it'll wear you out with the way that their energy level and focus is right now at the defensive end of the floor.
As Adebayo hits his first free throw attempt of the day here, Kelly.
Guys, John Calipari has not been shy in the lead up to this tournament, saying we are playing to get ourselves right for the NCAA tournament. And it was interesting listening in on that last huddle where he said, whether they're in man or zone, here's the play we're running. Such a focus for this Kentucky team on what they need to do to be the best version of themselves.
And Kentucky has won the last 8 meetings against Georgia by an average of 14.6 points per game. 10-point lead here. Edwards against Willis. And Willis gets the rebound. Briscoe couldn't finish there. Had success earlier. Crump for 3.
They are now just 2 of 13 shooting outside of the paint, the Georgia Bulldogs. We're almost all the way through the first half, and that percentage is not good enough to find a win against the top seed in the conference.
Just one of their last 6. And over on their 3-point attempts. Adebayo muscling offensive foul for Bam Adebayo. And that is his second.
And just as much as we mentioned those struggles for Georgia, Kentucky now has gone 3 minutes and 47 seconds without a made field goal. They are 0 for their last 5, and of course that turnover right there. We'll see with the 3 players on the bench, Fox, Monk, Adebayo. Is this a moment where in the final 2 minutes Georgia could maybe find themselves an offensive flow and steal some momentum going into the break?
Frazier cuts it to under double digits here. An 8-point lead now for Kentucky. Hawkins, runner wouldn't go, tap wouldn't as well. And now Georgia with that chance, Sean, that you described. Frazier, a little shake and bake. And this time he does finish high off the glass.
So just as quickly as we talk about the Georgia Bulldogs struggling at the offensive end, it's Kentucky that's 0 for their last 7. And J.J. Frazier has found himself in a rhythm with Fox and Monk on the bench, both with 2 fouls. The last 2 possessions come down, find the seam, finish high off the glass. And this is what he's been able to do his whole career. He reads the defense so well. Soft touch and a good finish. And then this one curling off the screen. 3 defenders really coming at him. Able to finish over the top. Nice job by J.J. Frazier, stealing the moment here, trying to get some momentum for the Georgia Bulldogs going into the half.
Well, he knows how to finish strong no matter the slow starts. We saw it yesterday against Tennessee. Scored 8 of Georgia's last 10 points to seal the win to arrive at this game. He's got 6 here now after a slow start. For J.J. Frazier was dynamic the last time they met Kentucky in Athens. Had 36 points, just 1 point short of his career high. 6-point game, just over a minute till half. From the corner, Hawkins couldn't connect. Humphreys with the rebound.
That's going to be offensive.
And that's going to be going the other way as you hear the cascade of boos.
They can boo, but it's the right call. He lowers his shoulder in to create space. Watch this. Good offensive rebound. And then as soon as you dip your shoulder like that into the chest of the defense, it's going against you.
And it's a little conspicuous when you're 7 foot, 255 pounds, too. Bulldozing for a moment. Frazier, another one of those opportunities that you've described over the course of the past 2 days, Sean. Briscoe darts his way in and scores. He has 6. 15 seconds here in the half. From the corner. Yes! 3-ball goes in for the Dogs from Tyree Crump. Briscoe. He answers. Nice finish to this first half for Isaiah Briscoe.
I tell you, that's a big shot for Isaiah Briscoe because the made three, Georgia was feeling really good about themselves, tightening this thing up to a 5-point game over the last 2 minutes. But then that last shot takes away that little bit of momentum that they had and gives it back to the Cats as they head to the locker room.
They had that surge there for a moment. Briscoe, a nice job of answering. He finishes with 8 points in that first half. Let's go to Kaylee.
Coach, I know you had some guys get in foul trouble. It interrupted that offensive flow. How do you get it back?
Well, again, there were some rebounds we could have had. There's some one-footers we're missing. There's some runners we're missing. I like our energy. I just want to see them play hard. You're not making every shot. You're going to make some mistakes. We left our feet. We went in. There are 2 or 3 guys. We are not leaving our feet. We left them 4 times and created 4 fouls because we left our feet on exactly what we had talked about. It's what a young team does.
Thank you, Coach.
Fox, Adebayo, and Monk each with 2 personal fouls as Kentucky tries to move onward, seeking their 3rd consecutive SEC tournament title. Pace picked up for Georgia right before the half. Kentucky leads 32-25 as we send it over to Dari in the game.
Tess, thank you very much. 32-25.
Good of a venue for a tournament as you're going to find, and it is proudly home to the 2017 SEC basketball tournament as we are underway with quarterfinal action. Georgia finished the half on an 11-5 run over the last 5 minutes and 55 seconds to close this lead of Kentucky to 7.
Well, and De'Aaron Fox had such a good start to the game, facilitating the offense, 2 assists, very efficient offensively, 3 of 5, and really it was him and Isaiah Briscoe that led the offense for Kentucky. Malik Monk, only 1 of 2, saddled with 2 fouls early and sat on the bench. Meanwhile, for J.J. Frazier, he started 0 for 3, but then picked it up. Finished with 3 made field goals, 6 points, and they stole some momentum there down the stretch of the end of regulation. And if they can carry that over, it would be huge.
First 2 meetings were absolute thrillers, right?
Yep.
The way they finished up, we had the one that went to overtime. In the second half of those games, Georgia shot 53% back on January 31st, 55% back on February 18th. What do you need to see out of them to know it's heading in that direction early on here in this second half?
You need to have made baskets by your 2 best players, Yante Maton and J.J. Frazier. They will not win this game if those 2 guys don't get it going.
Let's check in with Kaylee.
Well, Sean, Coach Fox certainly echoed your sentiment. You know, we talked coming into this game about how tough it could be for Yante Maton to play back-to-back games coming off of that sprained knee, and it was a concern for Coach Fox, but that's who he is looking to help this team find rhythm. He said, we need an inside shot to go down for Yante. We just need 1 to go down, and hopefully that can help this team find the rhythm it's been looking for.
Yeah, 0 for 4 in the first half, Kaylee, was Yante Maton from the field. He has 5 points. Those were all earned at the free throw line.
Yesterday against Tennessee, after coming back from missing 4 games with that strained knee, he had 12 points and 5 rebounds. Of course, was banged up in the first meeting with Kentucky, missed the second game.
Just as much as we talk about the need for Frazier and Maton.
Good work by Fox there.
Get Fox re-engaged in the offense, but in particular, number 5 in White. You and I have seen him enough to know that as soon as he sees 1 go through the hoop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and even 7 are shortly thereafter.
I love that second half he had against Florida. Went for 30. He finds his stride. It's over. Briscoe gets the roll. Remember, he had 6 of Kentucky's last 7 points before half, and he starts off this second half in form.
Wild shot attempt, though, by Bede.
Fox was fouled as he lost control in mid-stride, tried to get that shot off.
Well, Kentucky started the game red hot, and they're starting the second half in rhythm. It was Fox that drove on the first one, and then Briscoe gets the friendly bounce from 3.
Foul charge to Wilridge, sending Fox to the line. Kentucky shot 40%. In the first half, you see what they were able to do in transition.
And the transition was the big number. The 19 points were, a lot of those were from beyond the arc. They did shoot the ball really well, 4 of 8 from beyond the arcs, but outside of that, they struggled. I think if Georgia had to feel good going to the break, only down 7, considering how poor Yante Maton and J.J. Frazier played for a majority of the first half.
Frazier off the mark again.
Look out.
Monk on the screen, gives way to Briscoe. Hot hand doesn't continue for Isaiah.
It was the right decision, though, by Malik Monk. He had that look in his eye like he was going to stop and take the contested jump shot. Instead, he saw Briscoe open and made the pass.
That was tapped away by Monk. Jackson still with it. Gives to Frazier. Comes around Fox. Wild shot. Secures it back and will head to the line.
Hey, look at Malik Monk. He has put up some fantastic numbers. 6 games where he's had 20-plus points in a given half. But look at the numbers in SEC play. At Rupp Arena, not at Rupp Arena. The percentages clearly drop on the left-hand side of that graphic. And today, a sluggish start, not because of poor field goal percentage, but because of limited time out on the floor. That should be noted. This is a neutral site game, not a true road game. And he had one of those back in December, where he had 47.
That was against North Carolina. He has scored at least 20 points in 17 games this season. It is 2 more than any other player in this conference.
Well, the man at the free throw line, his numbers away from home actually improved in conference play. And that's why they rely so heavily on number 30, J.J. Frazier.
Averages 18.6 per game. Timeout used here as Georgia will talk things over, and we will continue on with quarterfinal action from Nashville.
You're going to work harder than you've ever worked in your life. If you don't want that, don't come here.
When you take UMass and Memphis to the Final Four, you should be embraced as one of the great coaches in the game, and he wasn't.
A number of coaches felt certain animus for Calipari.
You're going to hate me because I come to your town and we beat your team.
Farnham, clear your schedule for April 13th at 9 Eastern. It is one and not done. The 30 for 30 that chronicles the life of Coach Cal, who said earlier this week of this version of the Cats, the question being, are we ready to just swarm, to scramble, to play with great energy, pass the ball, fly up and down the court?
Well, they played with great energy. I agree with Coach Cal, and I mentioned it a bunch of times in the first half. I thought their energy, in particular at the start of the first half, was really strong, and I think coming out of the break, they have equaled that.
Monk can't connect. 11-point margin here.
First 3 minutes of this half, they've opened the lead back up to an 11-point lead when it was only 7 at the break. They have not allowed Yante Maton to get a good touch and a good look early in the second half, something that Georgia wants to have happen.
Harris against Briscoe. And they turn it over again. That is 9 turnovers for Georgia.
And Bam Adebayo playing really good defense on Yante Maton, staying connected, not fouling, putting himself in the right position on the high side to deny that pass from the angle in which it was coming from.
Frazier tried to get past Big Bam. Fox, 15-footer, yes. 13 points for the fabulous freshman De'Aaron Fox. Double down on Mayton. Somehow, some way, score it, Yante Mayton.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and that was a little bit of luck involved in that one, partner, because he had nowhere to go and really no one to pass the ball to.
And out of all his shot attempts today, that's his first made field goal. That one. And as Monk was revving the engine a little too early, took some steps.
Yante Mayton, again, good defense. Look at how much they are collapsing on him. One point in time, 3 bodies on him, still able to throw it up really just over the top of his head and went off the glass.
7 points today. They're going to need a big offensive surge out of Mayton and Frazier to chip away at this Kentucky lead. He's trying to work for space there. As Harris gives way to Frazier. Bede now backing down against Willis. There they go inside the Mayton. Comes around the other side. Tough angle. Willis comes away with it. Fox gets around Frazier. And Willis couldn't control it. It'll be Georgia basketball.
Some sloppy play on the last 2 possessions, but De'Aaron Fox has played within himself with the composure you want to see from your lead guard. The mid-range game, it's going. So are the Cats.
Ashley Judd's had a little style in her career. And as for playing with styles, brought to you by Belk, and it centers on De'Aaron Fox.
Well, if you're around this team at all, you know off the floor that De'Aaron Fox, he loves himself some fashion. I mean, he likes to look the part, and he's playing the part today. Silky smooth, not forcing his offensive game at all, and found himself in a great rhythm throughout the course of this game. I thought he was big at the start of the game. I think he's been big here at the start of the second half as well. 5 of 8, 13 points. For the very talented freshman.
And meanwhile, the stat lines that have produced the score we have here with Georgia trailing is the lack of overall production from the tandem of Frazier and Mayton for the Dogs. A combined 4 for 17 shooting. Frazier was phenomenal the last time he was up against Kentucky. He's going to need to find that stride. Gianna with the offensive foul. His second.
Isaiah Briscoe just applying great pressure defense. You saw the first elbow push off there, and then there's the second one.
Extending that right arm, and thus the call.
Your willingness to defend. What do you want to do? How committed are you this time of year? And if Kentucky is a team that wants to make a run, not just here, but in the NCAA tournament with visions of getting to Arizona, it's going to be at the defensive end of the floor. And in the second half so far, they have held Georgia to just 13% shooting. 1 of 6.
And that's Georgia's 3rd turnover of this second half. They have 10 turnovers overall in the day. And that slow start shooting in the first half. Slow start here in the second half. Shooting just 28% for the game. Double band back out to Fox. Willis shot fake. Skip past Fox. 3 ball. And Bam secures it. Fox probing in the lane. Monk on the go. Short corner. Too much. Willis gets it again. Here's Briscoe. Fox now right through the lane, leaves it for Bam, and he was fouled.
Oh, big collision underneath the hoop.
3 fouls on Pop Giada. Reminder that this Wednesday at 7 Eastern, it is SEC Inside, and they have an all-access pass to this SEC tournament. Never before seen footage and the great sounds from the semifinals and the championship game right here on the SEC network. SEC Inside. Just an outstanding production with that. I look forward to seeing them capture this dynamic tournament as Giada is up and makes his way out. And that'll leave Bam Adebayo at the line.
Well, they're trying to take him out of the game for medical reasons, and the officials wouldn't let the sub come in and grab him until after the first free throw attempt. And now he'll officially come out of the game, but that was a big contact underneath.
As Parker and Crump will check in for Georgia.
Bam Adebayo, how well he has played down the stretch of the season. Last 5 games, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 68% shooting from the floor.
Started to really hit the glass when this team started to find that winning streak with ease. The first Kentucky player with back-to-back 15-plus rebound games since 1994. He's got 5 points and 9 boards today against Georgia. Wilridge, as he will earn a trip to the stripe.
I think that's what Georgia needs to do a lot more of here in the final 14-plus minutes is attack. They need to try to get Kentucky into foul trouble. That's the only way I see them coming back into this game. Getting to the free throw line, getting some of the star power of Kentucky back to the bench like it was at the end of the first half.
There's a second on Willis. And they pack him in, don't they? Big Blue Nation to start this quarterfinal right to the top of Bridgestone Arena. 19,395 is capacity, and they're wedging in all in here to see Georgia and UK. Deontay Mayton checks in. Mayton with 7 points, just that one made field goal, 1 of 6 shooting, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Monk just inside the line. Long rebound, and Frazier's on the go. 3-on-2. And the oop wouldn't connect on the glory end. But the foul there as Ogbede tried to finish. And that'll be tagged to Dom Hawkins. That's his second.
We're watching Deontay Mayton move, though, and we watched the replay. Good job by J.J. Frazier pushing it out in transition. This is what Georgia needs to do a lot more of. Aggressively attacking the rim. Try to get to the free throw line, try to stop the clock. But let me tell you about Deontay Mayton right now. If I'm Mark Fox and I'm thinking on the sideline, you know, how did we play against Kentucky last time we saw them? What were the things that we did well? Well, we spaced the floor. We were able to drive. We were able to get contact and free up some space for J.J. Frazier. With Deontay Mayton struggling as much as he's struggling here, I think a smaller, more athletic lineup might be a better option for Georgia down the stretch of this game. And I just sit Deontay Mayton down.
Just abandon what you have, the asset you have, go back to what worked in that second.
Well, what worked down the stretch, too, from the knee injury. I mean, this team was playing quick. It was playing fast. And as much as you don't want to take out a first-team all-conference player, he's not helping you at either end.
How about that? Count it. Isaiah Briscoe had himself a nice day. 13 points for Briscoe.
And Deontay Mayton closes out, look to attack him. And an easy call. And a great finish. I know it goes against conventional wisdom, Tess. But if he's not up to speed, if he's not at his full strength, and you maybe have a quicker, more athletic lineup out there that could start to play with a little bit higher energy, and it frees up J.J. Frazier, I think the benefits outweigh the negatives of not being as strong on the glass.
When he was freed up against Kentucky, he went for 36.
Well, and what's interesting, when you didn't have Mayton in this lineup, J.J. Frazier told me he recognized that he had to play more aggressively without Mayton out there. Whereas yesterday, having Mayton back out there, Frazier said it really felt like it took some pressure off of me. But we all know that Frazier is the leader of this team, and this is the time they need him to lead.
So not just the physical constraints of spacing, but the mental side of things, of the attitude and the role that Frazier would then take on.
Well, because Frazier wears two hats. He wears I have to be the elite scorer on the team, but I also have to be the facilitator of the offense.
Deontay trying to reverse, and Humphries says, no, we're not going to have that. Here comes Kentucky. A 15-point lead for the top seed here in Nashville. Gabriel wouldn't roll for him.
The pace needs to pick up for Georgia. I mean, Kentucky's done such a good job of getting back into defensive transition that they're forced to grind in the half court every single possession.
Kind of sums things up right now in the second half for Georgia, doesn't it?
It really does.
That turnover.
It sums it up for the entire afternoon, and so does this. Guys coming off the bench, ready to contribute. Humphries, an excellent job meeting Deontay Maton up at the top.
Turnovers for Mark Fox's club, and Frazier's 0 for 3 shooting in this second half. And as Deontay Maton takes a seat, some frustration, guys talking things over, trying to solve this riddle. And to Bam, up high and over the rim.
I've never been good at riddles, partner, but I'll tell you this: if you don't stop that, you're never going to find the answer.
Isn't that the truth?
One pass into the offense, find the biggest, baddest dude on the floor, and get the ball.
Jackson was fouled, a little something extra there as they trapped. You know who's in town, Sean? The SEC Player of the Year, Sindarius Thornwell. Cannot wait to see him do his thing against Alabama. That's still ahead. Georgia's is down by 17, the biggest lead of the day for Kentucky. Let's look at some of the news and notes from around the SEC tournament, Sean.
Made official today, LSU announced that Johnny Jones will not be returning as their head coach. It's been the top seeds so far that have advanced into the quarterfinals here. Sebastian Saiz with his 20th double-double of the season, and Andy Kennedy in 20 wins. They just go together. Vanderbilt taking on Florida, third time. Of course, Vandy won the first two meetings.
Aaron Fox just picked up his third foul moments ago.
What do you make of the press conference today to announce the Johnny Jones dismissal?
I was surprised by some of the comments. Parker with the made shot there. The AD at LSU, Joe Oliva, made the comment indicating that the past couple seasons were a disappointment and the cause for the firing, but then saying he wanted to wait till things were finished here in Nashville for LSU, saying, quote, what if he would have won the SEC championship? Well, I don't think you can juxtapose that comment and frame it against the previous comment.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
If you're going to say, listen, what happened the past couple of years, the firing is justified, I don't care what you do then over the course of 3 days.
Right, so if Kim Anderson would have won the tournament at Missouri, then all of a sudden is he not going to be relieved of his duties? If you're looking at the entire body of work and that's the reason that you're making this decision, then you can't say that 4 days, 5 days in Nashville would have changed that. Two important spots open in the SEC.
Hawkins rattles out. Payday with the rebound. And you feel that there's the potential for those jobs to be filled by some pretty special names.
I do. I think the SEC continues to become a more attractive destination for college basketball coaches as investments are being shown every single day in this product. It's where this conference was a year ago to where it is now, where we are talking 5 teams in the NCAA tournament field on Friday of championship week, where last year the discussion was, do you think there's a chance we can get 3?
Frazier was leaning to his right. Shot was off. Fox was fouled. What a difference with this second half for Frazier compared to the last go-round. Let's talk a little SEC bracketology, as Joe Lunardi has had 5 teams in, including Vandy, who he lists as one of the last 4 buys. As it stands going into today, Georgia was listed among the next 4 out.
Clearly, for Georgia to have had any chance to move up, they would have to find a way to win today and probably tomorrow just to get to the championship game. Meanwhile, I think when you look at Vandy, a key thing to look and think about with Vanderbilt, and we mentioned this yesterday, Iowa State plays TCU, not Kansas, tonight because of that Kansas loss last night to the Horned Frogs. And if Iowa State goes on and ends up winning the Big 12 championship or making it to the championship game, it just continues to enhance and help the schedule of Iowa State.
Hawkins, follow up by Bam. Oh my, Farnham. As I like to say, climb the ladder, Bam.
Climb the ladder or climb the backs of everybody who's standing in front of you. Either way, partner, show it to me again. Let's do it.
Let's get some yeast going here with Bam. Rise it up, my man.
The defense collapses on the drive, and Bam collapses the rim. How about this? Yep, he's there. 1 point shy of another double-double for Bam Adebayo. I think for Kentucky to win a national championship, they've got to play through that man right there.
Agreed.
All right,
he's the most reliable.
By the way, when I say that, that doesn't mean that Malik Monk's not going to lead the team in scoring, but you've got to apply pressure underneath. You've got to give him the ball and play through him and cut and move and space and find shots out of that. His level of consistency, and how many times do we look at his game and go, oh, well, he's really forcing his offense in this one. If he gets a double team, he always passes it out.
Willis for 3.
Prime example of why you need production inside. Malik Monk just struggling today from the field.
Torian Woolridge with the 3, and a timeout called by Georgia. Kentucky's lead at 14.
Just sit back and listen.
All season long, this team has been talking about playing through Bam and the importance of it. And De'Aaron Fox said, when we get in the lane, it makes everything easy for us rather than just kicking out threes. Getting layups, dunks, or lobs to Bam, that makes the whole game easier when our guards are able to touch the paint.
9 points, 10 boards, and a couple magical wow moments here in Nashville for the 6'10", 260-pound Bam Adebayo. We got a lot of action still ahead of us, and that's the crew that'll take you through it. It's Damian, Tony Delk, Pat Bradley, and my man Dari are here all day with SEC Now. We'll get us set for the next game, preview the night ahead of quarterfinal action here on the SEC Network. Back to the basket now. Cleared a little too much space, didn't he, Farner?
Yeah, little bit of the elbow extended out. Right after I said he doesn't force the issue, guess what he does? He forces the issue. Thanks. Appreciate it, Bam.
Nothing to force with interest between South Carolina and Alabama. They played one of the games of the year in college basketball. The rematch is coming up following this Georgia-Kentucky game. That'll be a quarterfinal matchup of South Carolina, Alabama. 4 overtimes the first go-round. We cannot wait to call it. Maton against Bam. Reverse. Wouldn't drop in.
He just doesn't have the same lift off the ground that we've seen when he's been healthy.
Frazier secures the rebound off the Monk miss. Giada 3-ball, yes.
Don't look down, it's an 11-point game.
Pop Giada helps close into it.
Does Georgia have a run in them? They have to get locked in at this end of the floor And then I think they've got to take those kind of shots in transition secondary breaks.
Jackson swatted at it, and it goes out and will stay with Kentucky. 17 remaining on the shot clock. Monk just 2 points against Georgia today.
You know what I love about J.J. Frazier? He just grabbed his own teammate by the shirt and said, stop talking. Because there was some talking going on between Turtle and Malik Monk.
7-0 run for Georgia over the last 90 seconds. Good cut by Briscoe and a good finish. He has had a fine-looking day. 16 points for Isaiah Briscoe. Frazier through the lane, and he's fouled as he made that first move into the paint. Showcase event when Bam is going rung by rung by rung, up, and away. The follow. Dunk Cam says, we love it. Little eye candy from Mr. Adebayo. More to come.
Last week, Mr. Ryder got a triple-double. Can't stand, son. I fouled and I had to get an and one. We show up to the stadium and the fans come.
Farnham, thanks to Regions Bank, we get the answer to who's taking the next step.
And that next step has been Isaiah Briscoe, moving well without the ball all afternoon long, attacking off the bounce. Hit the big shot going into the half that gave momentum back to Kentucky. Briscoe 7 of 12 shooting, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. He's been extremely active for the Kentucky Wildcats.
As Coach Cal huddles the group, top seed here. De'Aaron Fox just picked up his 4th. Adebayo and Willis each with 3 fouls, and Briscoe 16 points on 7 made field goals, couple assists in there. For the sophomore from New Jersey, had a strong game the first go round against Georgia, had 23 points, 11 boards, and 8 assists that time against the Dogs.
Maitland and Frazier now combined 4 of 21 shooting on the afternoon.
Enough said there, right?
And if you need to look for any other reason why the score is what it is, it's exactly that.
I don't know if you told me that over a cup of coffee this morning, I wouldn't have thought that it would be worse than this.
Well, first of all, I don't drink coffee, and you know that.
Well, I tend to have my triple espressos throughout the morning and would enjoy one with you. Frazier at the line. There's Frazier, a very consistent free throw shooter. Shoots over 87%. Point margin again. Georgia used that 7-0 run to cut into it. Kentucky answered back. And see if the Dogs have one more in them. They're going to need a few stops here. Monk gets it into Bam with the right hand over Maitland, and it drops in and count it. And there is your double-double, Sean.
So good with his poise. Look at his base, strong underneath, the contact on the arm, able to finish over the top. But if you're a post player, you see how low Bam Adebayo gets and how strong his foundation is. It allows for that contact to happen up top without disruption into the shot.
Caps the 3-point play. 6th double-double of the season for Bam Adebayo. 12 points, 10 rebounds as it stands now. As Maitland had picked up his 2nd. Giada through the lane aggressively, and he was fouled.
Remember, bonus the rest of the way. And when you're struggling as much offensively as Georgia has in this game, that's why I continually say you've got to push and create, partner. You've got to be able to draw fouls, get to the free throw line, kind of neutralize the game a little bit, but you've got to be able to make them as well.
Now 3 on Isaiah Briscoe.
So Briscoe has 3. Willis has 3. Monk has 2. And Fox has 4.
Adebayo with 3 personals.
Still a lot of time left to go in this game. Derek Willis is wide open. He's got to shoot that shot.
Yeah, he turned at that elbow and had an offering and chose otherwise. Slapped away by Hawkins, gets it back. Briscoe, great play, he'll head to the line. Awesome awareness by Hawkins and Briscoe.
The missed layup opportunity, and then again a lazy exchange and not valuing the ball. And Hawkins very astutely came back to it, deflected it, and then got it to Briscoe for the finish.
And Gianna picks up his 4th.
Now that play by Hawkins, not something that's going to show up on the stat sheet, but it's plays just like that. And what you just saw Derek Willis do, the hustle plays that have impressed John Calipari down the stretch. Dominique Hawkins, a senior for this team, is someone who's had to earn every minute he's played. The energy he brings to this team is something they plan on relying on down this final stretch.
And that's true, Kaylee. Kentucky now 18 points off of 13 Georgia turnovers. 15-point lead for the top seed. Here's Turtle Jackson. Running out of options there. Shot clock running down. And Willis gets the rebound. We want to glide in for a nice landing here in this opener to the quarterfinals as Hawkins was fouled. Alabama is warming up behind the scenes here at Bridgestone Arena. They will have that rematch with South Carolina. Bama took care of business yesterday in the second round against Mississippi State. First meeting with South Carolina was absolutely spectacular. Alabama won it in 4 overtimes. South Carolina had to climb out of that hole. They shot so poorly in the first half, and then Sindarius Thornwell had one of the great games of all time. Kaylee, what can you tell us in a little preview of what's going to happen there?
I spoke with Avery Johnson as the team arrived, and I know we're all excited to see Sindarius Thornwell get out on the court as the SEC Player of the Year, but naturally that's the guy Avery Johnson keying on. Looking back on that last matchup, he said, now we recognize we've got to match that guy's second effort, his third effort, because that's where he makes a difference. Just remember how many times he went to the free throw line in that last meeting.
33 attempts. Do you know how hard you have to play to get to the free throw line 33 times? The ball has got to be dominated in your hands, and you've got to create those opportunities, and that's what Sindarius Thornwell did in that game.
So that is coming up once we finish up with Kentucky and Georgia. Hawkins wanted every bit of it, Farnham. I mean, Dom said, I'm thinking about it, and went for it.
Very rarely do you have the fans on their feet after you miss a dunk. But the senior, trying to have a senior moment, goes through the contact and gets to the iron. What an attempt. His athleticism, so good. You think about over the course of his career, he's been often injured, missed time with broken hands and all this other. He is, as Kaylee mentioned, he's become a stabilizer on the court. And there are things that don't show up in the box score that are very important to the improvement that you've seen in the last 8 games for Kentucky.
You know, Dom Hawkins, you got a taste of it there, but he's got the top vertical on the team at 44.5 inches.
He used all 44.5 that one.
Oh, did he? Can you imagine if he put that down, the reaction in this place?
Would you have thrown your headset across the floor?
I may have thrown it across the floor. Good job, Dom. 16-point lead, and yet they're roaring over a miss and a trip to the line. 4.5 minutes to play here as number one is looking every bit of number one in the SEC. Three from Maton. Yes, puts it through. Been a tough struggle for Yante. Maton, give him a lot of credit for coming back and even being in uniform here in Nashville. As you said, maybe 50% heading out there. Only had one full practice prior to being given the green light to play here in this SEC tournament. As Monk went to the 10 and was fouled.
One of the few times he's actually applied pressure out on the perimeter, getting all the way to the rim, drawing contact. That time Malik Monk. So much of his attempts today came off the one bounce, pull-up jump shots, and he has not had an efficient afternoon. Just 1 of 7 from the floor.
4 fouls on Ogbede. Monk has had some masterful performances this year. I mentioned a couple weeks ago against Florida, only had 3 points in the first half, went for 33 in the game. And this is not going to be one of them when you look at the stat line. But you know he's going to be ready to get back at it come the next go-round. Only 2 points for Monk today on 1 of 7 shooting. Kentucky with a 13-point lead under 4 to play. Fishback, Delk, Bradley, and Dari getting ready. Wave, gentlemen, wave. You're on TV, boys. It is Champ Week, and we are thrilled that you're spending it with us from here in Nashville. We've had #1 seeds tumbling. You know what happened yesterday in the Big 12, and look what happened today in the Big 10, Sean.
Yeah, Purdue struggling in the Big 10. A year in the Big 10 where you can look and say there's not really a clear-cut team that you think can make a real Final Four run. And I just don't see it when I look at the Big 10. And I said this before the game yesterday in the Big 12. I think some of the off-the-court issues that Kansas has had, I think some of the deficiencies that they have had, in particular in the inside, we're going to come up and get them. And it did yesterday at TCU. Jamie Dixon, first season back at his alma mater to get that win. First time in school history that they have knocked off an AP #1.
Briscoe's at the line after Derek Ogbede fouled out with 4 points and 15 rebounds, matching his career high for Georgia. It's been a very strong day for Briscoe. 19 points. Couldn't make it 20 there. Georgia 10-86 all-time against a ranked Kentucky team. They've lost 10 straight against a ranked Kentucky team.
Well, now you're at that stretch of the game. If you're Georgia, you've got to have quick shots like we just saw. You can no longer play at a slower pace. You can no longer work the shot clock down. Problem there is that if they miss those shots, it gives Kentucky more opportunities to take time off the clock.
Rattles out as Willis was looking for another long one. Collapse on Maton, back out Willridge, and he puts the 3-ball through. So down to 11 points. Willridge has 7. 2 3-pointers here in this second half for the sophomore. Bam nearly mishandled it, but they'll control it with Monk. Off the ball screen from Bam. There's the roll, there's the feed. And the the foul happened on the floor. That was a little too easy. Hey, a reminder, Sunday night, I know everybody's going to be launching into the bracket, sharpening the pencil. Here's the way you want to do it if you're an SEC fan. It is the selection show with Dari and Peter, Antoine and Dane. 2 hours they're going to go. And we will see how things shape up. But that is Sunday night right here on the SEC Network, the SEC Now selection show with Dari and his band of brothers. And Joe Lunardi has been framing this as 5 SEC teams in, with Kentucky as a 2 seed, but we will see how things play out here in Nashville. Obviously, room for improvement with many who will be targeting this SEC tournament championship. Crump denied by Bam. 6'1" was in among the trees.
Advantage trees.
Advantage 6'10" freshman tree named Adebayo. Frazier got tied up and fouled there.
That one's going to go against Derek Willis.
That's his 4th. Fox is out there playing with 4. Frazier, the senior guard, who has meant so much to this team down the stretch of the season. And they were dealing with the absence of Yante Maton. Now a 10-point lead for Kentucky under 2 minutes to play, as they will look to just manage this possession. Fox off balance and still scores. Turned his inside shoulder, nearly had his back facing the basket at one point to the side. And Frazier driving on the other end, couldn't connect.
De'Aaron Fox's ability to penetrate from the outside all season long has been such a huge strength. And one of the things, yes, his body, his legs are off balance, but where are his eyes? His eyes are fixed on the rim, and a good job of getting his hand up and extending through with the ball straight towards the basket, regardless of the position of the rest of his body.
There's so many great physical attributes. Good off the inbound with the reverse with Maton. And he's one of the fastest players with the ball in his hand in all the country, but he's got great body control as well. Fox with 16 points, 6 of 10 shooting, 4 assists on the day. Briscoe leads the way for Kentucky with 19. And add to it. Edwards trying to chase that down. It'll stay with Georgia. 48 seconds to play. As Kentucky looks to put the stamp on this here in the opener of the quarterfinals. As Fox will take a seat, Hawkins checks in. What a run it's been for J.J. Frazier, Sean.
Unbelievable player. He played so long behind man and Gaines and alongside of them, and a big part of the successful run that they've had over the last 4 years. But J.J. Frazier has been the consummate leader for the Georgia Bulldogs. He assumed that role this year, and he's given his heart and soul to this program. And you look at where he ranks all time: points, second; assists, second; steals, third. And the active list on the SEC, And to me, the thing that stands out to me, when you are able to have a successful career against active roster players in this conference like that, in a day and age where so many players go early, nobody gave J.J. Frazier a chance coming out of high school because of his size and his stature. There were people that actually looked at Mark Fox and said, what are you doing recruiting this kid? Well, I think he's answered all of that over the course of his career.
Sean, to your point, Mark Fox told us J.J. Frazier epitomizes what is possible. As you say, this is a kid from a small town in South Georgia. No one really saw him play. As you said, no one really believed in him. But he's taken all of that and become one of the most productive players in school history, gotten a degree, and given himself a future. Mark Fox says, as kids shoot hoops in their driveway, this is what they should dream of.
You know, I love that comment, Kaylee, that you highlight from Coach Fox right there as he draws up on the grease board. He says he epitomizes what this experience should be all about, growing as an individual, as a man. It was a strong run to the finish line to Nashville for J.J. Frazier, but needed a little more out of him today against this strong Kentucky team. He had 12 points to this point, 3 of 16 shooting, 0 for on his threes. He put up 3, and in the second half he struggled. 0 of 8 shooting. As they break the press with foul up on Briscoe.
Well, it's been a rough afternoon for J.J. Frazier. Very uncharacteristic performance when you look at his numbers over the course of the season. He's came into this game averaging over 18 points per game, shooting better than 40% from the field. Just 3 of 16. He has gotten the line 6 times, though. 12 points for J.J. Frazier. And I think what J.J. Frazier embodies, by the way, is also the culture in which Mark Fox has developed at Georgia. They're getting players that maybe aren't on everybody's radar, that aren't the most highly touted kids in the country, and then developing them over the course of their career. And as they get older, the program sustains and continues to compete at a high level.
And not to draw more attention to it than needed, but earlier this week there were internet reports about the future at Georgia and Coach Fox, and those were refuted by Greg McGarity, the AD down there in Athens. Where is Georgia as a program right now? What's the trajectory, Sean?
Well, they've been a program. This will be the first time in 4 years they haven't made the semifinal of the SEC tournament.
Right.
First time in 4 years they haven't won 20 games, and they're sitting at 19. Potential of more games in an NIT bid available for Mark Fox, and they've done a great job recruiting. They got a very good recruit coming in next year. Rayshawn Hammonds, 6'8", 220-pounder, 37th in the ESPN Top 100. Getting that kind of talent, that increase will help the program. But when you play a team like Kentucky, who partnered, we came in, we didn't know how this young group would react to the tournament setting. They've reacted well. They've played with a very good sense of purpose and energy, in particular at the defensive end of the floor, holding Georgia to just 33% shooting, when on the season they shoot 44%. So 11 percentage points below their season average as far as field goal percentage goes, and you're doing this without Malik Monk having a big game.
And I give credit to Coach Cal and his crew for listening to the message earlier this week, as Jackson was fouled and reach in there by Willis. I believe that's 5 on him. But Coach Cal said, listen, something's not quite right that we have a few days to try to fix. And that was some constant messaging, whether it was the defense in February or the inconsistencies of fighting for a full 40 minutes. They were getting down double digits in recent games that they came back to win. But I think this young group has shown some recent maturity.
Well, the slow starts that we've seen over the last couple, they did not happen today. This was a quick start for Kentucky. They got out early, and they stayed out.
So Willis fouls out with 7 points and 11 rebounds, as Jackson's at the line. South Carolina and Alabama still to come.
That's a big free throw right there. I had a friend that I used to work with on this show before you came here that had friends in a desert.
Oh, a lot of friends in a desert. So much so they decided to become one of those friends in the desert.
Now he actually lives there. I'll see him on Monday night on ESPN.
You heading out to Vegas for what's going to be a fun few days of college basketball marathon bracket broadcasting. You know, everybody's going to be dialed in to hear what you and many have to say.
It's going to be a great show out there. Adam Amin's going to be with me. Dick Vitale's coming out. Stanford Steve from the SVP show.
Stanford Steve is heading out there.
Oh, yes.
It's my boy from back in the days of Connecticut high school football circles right there. You're going to have some fun with him.
Kenny Mayne.
We're going to need to take that conversation off air. My days back in the day of doing horse racing and gambling with Kenny Mayne. Oh, should be a fun time. I'll be listening. I'll be filling in my bracket based on what a few of you say.
A few, not all.
Right now, the bracket to be filled in includes the name Kentucky on the next line. We're going to move Kentucky right into that semifinal that you can see at 1 Eastern on ESPN as they will await either South Carolina or Alabama, two teams that can lock down defensively, Sean.
What a business-like approach for Kentucky today. I mean, they came out, they were connected, they played with great energy at the defensive end of the floor. They did not allow J.J. Frazier to get any of those easy looks at the iron that we saw in the final matchup between these two teams.
Woolridge couldn't finish it, though. Mulder can, as he was fouled heading to the rim with 2.6 remaining. And J.J. Frazier just moments ago his first field goal of the second half.
You see the bench, Yante Maton, as he looks down, thinking about what might have been this season if his knee didn't get hurt. They didn't have to make the adjustments they had to make.
I give him a lot of credit for pushing himself to try to contribute to his teammates, his brothers, who he has worked hard with over the last 2 days. Seemingly was in no position to do so as of a week ago. Almost. 71-60 is going to be your final here.
How about Kentucky? How about Bam Adebayo? A double-double for him. Isaiah Briscoe, when it was Monk, Fox, and Adebayo on the bench at the first half, and it looked like momentum was going to go to Georgia. It was Isaiah Briscoe that stepped up for his team, aggressively attacking, penetrating off the top, and of course hitting that mid-range jump shot right before the buzzer, going to the break. And the Cats came right back out and picked up where they left off.
It's a nice exchange there between Calipari and J.J. Frazier, the senior, finishing things up in his run of SEC action. What a great leader he has been to Georgia through the years, and especially over the course of the last month when Maton got injured. Isaiah Briscoe went for 20, as did De'Aaron Fox. And Kentucky advances to the SEC tournament semis. Bam Adebayo, the double-double, 13 points, 10 rebounds. Let's go to Kaylee.
Isaiah, Coach Cal has been very open about saying this tournament is to help you all prepare for the NCAA tournament. What did you all do better today to make you better in March?
We just came out with a lot of energy. You know, we were playing together, we were talking, and it started with defense. You know, everybody was tuned in, and you know that was our emphasis coming out here tonight.
Now, you're just a sophomore, but the way we talk about you, sometimes you would think you'd been here for 4 years as we use the word veteran with your name. What advice have you given your freshman teammates for this point in the season and what it takes?
One, I told them, you know, it's always hard to beat a team 3 times, and you know these games the other teams are going to come out hard. You know, every game's going to be harder than what it was. So you know, we just got to come out and match their intensity.
Thanks, Zach.
No problem.
A 9-game win streak for Kentucky. They're 11-1 all-time in the SEC tournament against Georgia. Last time the Bulldogs beat a ranked Kentucky team was back in January of 2011. Good work from the Cats. More to come. South Carolina and Alabama. Plus the great analysis of this group led by Dari. Take it away, gentlemen.
All right, Tess, thank you much. Dari, Delk, Damian Fishback, Pat Brett.